Hey everyone, and welcome back to Master Site. Today we're going to have a special little video for you where instead of one masters, we got two masters on the channel today. One of us is better than the other, so we'll have fun finding out who that is here. So I'm sure everybody knows who you are, Alex, but why don't you go ahead and do a quick introduction, and then we'll hop into your list.
Absolutely, yeah. So my name's Alex Chavez. I'm in the Mid-Atlantic. I live around Washington D.C. And yeah, I've been playing Kings of War for a long time now. One master a long, long time ago. So if you joined the last 5 years, you wouldn't have seen my glory days. But yeah, I'm still pretty active in the Mid-Atlantic scene. I actually in the fair for Mid-Atlantic right now.
Yeah. So we got two masters, two chairpersons. I
That's
mean,
right.
we're practically the same person, Alex.
You're not wrong, actually. Yeah.
Although I'm not in a cool biker gang like you, so uh,
hmm Need
all right,
sunglasses. You get there.
that's right. So why don't we go through your list here? I'll let you go ahead and read it down, and then we can do a quick summary of kind of what you were going for, why you made some of the choices maybe that you did.
Yeah, absolutely. So just read it line by line here.
Yep.
All right, so I got two regiments of flame bears who are kind of the shooting core of the list. They provide 20 shots on 4 up, 18 range of steady aim, and I've opted to give them both the sacrificial imp in case they take any kind of range fire. I think that's a big upgrade to kind of make sure they die immediately. Um, then have two units of gargoyles, which are just chaff. Still some of the best chaff in the game. 85 points of 10, just get in the way. And something that's really important too is they have a very wide base size. So they have the 125 millimeter base size, which is enough to cover some of the other units we'll go over later. And so jumping right into those units, actually, we have two units of berserkers in the horde size. This is a new unit from the update from the Classic Kings, and I find the horde to be just really, really efficiently priced. So I opted to kind of keep them kind of cheap. I give them the sacrificial imp upgrade. One has the J boots for Strider. The other one has a bit of slashing. And just being nimble with 30 attacks and speed 9. These guys are just like a overall just really useful unit. Their main goal is to kind of play the flanks, try to surround the opponent. But overall, they're just really, really versatile. Um, Next up, I have the Horsemen, regiment size, Blood of the Old King. Just a really efficient hammer again. The one-time use really get the elite and vicious pairs really well with obviously their rush one, thunder one, and if you get a bane gen, even better. Then I have kind of the cheaper version of the list, I'll say, which is the two Abyssal Fiends. Typically are kind of chaff most of the time. Just Fireball 10, overall kind of a get in the way Titan. They don't really do a lot of damage necessarily, but they kind of have the right matchups, I think, with the brutal and the fact that they're relatively tough with Fury. Next, I have the Seductor Still, which is pretty popular. I think you see quite a bit. She's Spellcaster level 2 upgrade. She's got Host Shadow Beast 3, the Gnome Glass Shield for defense 6, and obviously she's got like a million rules already baked on her, so she's really useful for a lot of different things. Then I have two Abyssal Warlocks who I've decided to keep naked. I've kind of playtested a couple different builds with them, and I found just like 85 point, really annoying, boring units that kind of just either chaff, they get in the way, they kind of do a little bit of everything. I found that they're really good if you just keep them cheap, something to throw at the opponent and make them deal with it. And then you have Zazu or Zazusu, I don't know how you say that, but he's kind of the more expensive version of the Warlock, but still really efficiently priced. His main goal is to use his betrayal rule to pump out Lightning Bolt 8 and just kind of pick a target and just keep zapping it, and then obviously the Bane chant for when you really need it, for when you like offense kind of clashes. And then last but not least, we have Meditation of Bale. Again, kind of a Swiss Army knife of flying monsters. I like that he's again kind of cheap. He's 265, which is not a massive investment, but you get all the usual things of like flying monsters on a small base size, which is kind of cool. And then you get Lightning Bolt 7, and then a Cool Disorder Rule, which I pretty much forgot the whole tournament, and I don't think I used once.
That's
But it's a cool
sad
rule.
because it got buffed. It's so much better than what it used to be.
It's actually, yeah, it's actually super relevant.
Yeah.
Um, Especially for if you like charge them in and you can like hit a caster in the back that like would have Bane Chanted or something, or Surge Caster, all those different things, right?
Yeah, it's really useful. And yeah, I kind of forgot. By the time he got anywhere close, well, I don't think it really mattered. But
I agree
yeah,
with that. He could
but
have
yeah,
stopped like a rally shooting or something.
yeah, you could have stopped a unit from shooting, and they didn't do enough anyway. So all right.
Yeah,
Well, I do have to say I like your list, and especially after seeing it being played. I think it's very finely tuned. It definitely seemed like you were much more prepared with your army than I was with rats going into this game. So
yeah.
um,
I was able to get like a few practice games, and then I did play a 1 day tournament with it. So I had a few reps for sure.
yeah, nice. And is this your first time playing Abyssals, or is this an old army that you're just re coming back to again?
Yeah, I added some new stuff. I played Abyssals probably about 4 years ago. Um, and some of the elements there are the same. Like I liked the flame bearers and some of the horsemen and seductors, stuff like that. So it's like half and half. I'd say.
Okay, nice. Well, yeah. Well, there's us on game day. So we're just gonna go through the pictures now and kind of talk about the game in our normal fashion. But obviously, for the viewers, we're gonna have both sides of the story here instead of just me writing the history, as it were. So we were playing Invade in the first round here, and this is our table setup. So for terrain wise, we got the pond in the back left with a obstacle right in front of it, forest on my left side, hill in the center, the field or height one difficult in the center as well. Then we had forests right outside of Alex's deployment zone with both buildings up here, and the last hill on the right, and an obstacle just outside of my deployment. So we'll go through Alex's deployment here. So he's got a horde of abyssals out on the left. I believe these were the ones with the J boots, with a gargoyle unit. Then he has kind of a cluster here, but Gargoyles behind, Warlock, Zazuzu, uh, Manifestation of Baal, and one of the Archfiends. He then has a regiment of the Cav with the Blood of the Old King, another Archfiend, both, I think, yeah, you got a Warlock in there too, hidden behind the tree. And then both regiments of uh, flame bearers, succubi, and then the last abyssal berserker on the far right, from my point of view, anyway. So I I know at least kind of obvious now looking at it, but why don't you explain any strategy or tactics you have going into this deployment here, Alex? What were you thinking?
Yeah, for sure. This is, I'd say, kind of my standard deployment with the list. The key points being, of course, like a horde of berserkers on each flank, and again, they don't necessarily always get around the opponent because it doesn't always work that way. But the idea is that they have enough threat to kind of get in, make the opponent play tight. Maybe get flanked so they get it. If not, they kind of just do the thing. And then in the middle, the idea is you kind of put the shooting focus on one side, and then the cav kind of are the centerpiece that kind of which to punch through and break the opening. So the Bissell's Bissell feeds give me kind of the anchor points in the middle, and I had the nice forest there to kind of get my flavors into. So my idea was like I wasn't too worried about the counter shooting with that there. I could kind of hide there and try to shoot as much as possible before kind of charging into your line.
Yeah, absolutely. And I looked at it, and well, I'll explain after I my deployment here. So my deployment, I started with horde of shock troops on the left. I believe these were the ones with J boots, or no, I think those were in the middle. I think this was sharpness on the left.
That's
Uh,
right.
a regiment of warriors behind, the naked broodmother, and then a brute. I have the tangle here. In the center, I have the J booted shock troop horde, behind which have all three weapons teams. Got three claw shots on the back of the field, easily seeing the Titans, and gonna overwatch anything that goes up on that hill right outside of his deployment zone. Then I have Mother Kryza here with the green scythe, the Broodmother with the blight staff, the strength shock troops with a regiment of warriors, and a brute out on the far right. So uh, yeah, after my deployment, I look at Alex's deployment, and then I'm thinking, oh yeah, we're playing Invade, and I immediately was like, cool. So this looks like Alex's army looks like what I ideally want when I play elves, which is a big shooting block in the center, fast units on the flank. If you come right up the center, the fast units will hit you. If you look at the the units out on the flank, there's still stuff in the center that's going to hit you. So I'm just like, cool, I'm playing right into Alex's hands at this point. I deployed like an absolute idiot.
Yeah.
uh,
I wouldn't say an idiot. It's like it's just I think the terrain in the middle is a big deal. I think I don't know if you're counting on that. Maybe to give yourself more shooting protection. Maybe.
No, I don't think I was looking for protection from your shooting. More as I'm thinking, I guess, for purposes of scenario, this is one of the least optimal ways to play against your type of army. Knowing that the fastest thing in my army is speed 6, so pretty much everything in your army outranges me with shooting or outranges me with charges. I absolutely should have picked a board edge and played a denied flank, and realistically, looking at it, it should have been the right hand side to force you to break up your lines with those buildings there. My so basically my leftmost shock troop horde, if it was on the far right, closer to the board edge, I think my deployment is significantly better, because then I have the ability to go straight forward, get across the center line, and be fairly protected because of these impassable pieces. And then force your abyssals into a charge, just one on one. And ideally, a horde of shock troops should be able to win that fight for me. So yeah,
I agree.
that's what I'm looking at this point. So too late now, but so we're gonna have to live with our decisions and see if we can fight out of it. So I do think that overall, though, you have the upper hand after deployment for sure. So
I'd probably agree with that. Yeah.
yeah. And then let's just add extra incentive. You get first turn too, which everybody knows in Invade you always go first. So
Definitely.
so yeah, it's I got even less space to maneuver now, but uh you do kind of what I think was expected. Jump up on the hill with some of your lightning bolts. You move the flame bearers up. They're not going to be able to shoot yet, but you'll be able to start with a little bit of lightning bolts and do some plink shooting here. And then obviously positioning with the berserkers out on the flanks. I guess one thing I was a little curious about with your deployment was the far left berserkers starting in the pond there. I would. There's definitely plenty of room for you to not be in the terrain. So, was there any particular reason? Were you considering maybe something else is going to go out there on that board edge, like Bale or something, or was there?
Yeah, I want to say I dropped that pretty early
Yeah,
when
I
I
think.
thought you were kind of going to put a unit there. I'd be
Uh,
more straight up, and I need help to kind of put more stuff in the flank. But you're 100% right. I mean, I think that's something I learned later is like the other games, like don't always put yourself in terrain when you can avoid it because, like you said, when they're nimble, they can get around that very easily
yeah,
and not lose 9 inches of movement, basically, right?
right.
So,
Because it's especially scary if they could run up 18 and then look towards the center, knowing that I didn't put anything to threaten them out there now. But yeah, it was just something I was looking at and just
I
little
agree.
things I
Yeah.
noticed. I have to point out the small mistakes you make me feel better, Alex. So,
No, no, I made plenty of money.
so yeah, your movement was kind of as expected, exactly how you wrote it up in the deployment, basically. Um, and yeah, I guess we should talk. So, command dice. I think pretty much every turn of the game we used a reroll to hit, reroll to wound with our shooting early on, and then once we got into combat. So the command dice are going to be kind of uneventful early on, I think, uh, unless I'm forgetting some. Was there something that you did that you or that you usually did early game with your command dice, or
No, I mean, if I'm spending more than 2 minutes a turn, it's pretty rare to be honest. This list
yeah, yeah.
just rerolls.
So yeah, you get right up on that hill, you start shooting, and well, you got to kill Alex. How'd you do it?
So, first turn is normally not what you want to be doing this list. 'Cause like you said, your flame bearers and your warlocks, they move 5, they move 6, they shoot 18. They're not going to get to 24. So a lot of your shooting in turn 1 is out of range. What you do have in range is Zazu, who can move 6 and shoot lightning bolt 24 inches, and Bale, who can move 10 and shoot lightning bolt 24 inches as well. And that's typically why you see them near the hills, especially in this game. You can get on the hill early, you can shoot targets, and that point you're usually ignoring like whatever's in between them, so you get clean shots. So in this case, I was like, let's take some flank shots, soften something up, so that next turn you can try to kill something. So instead, um, I put, I believe it was Bale who went into the weapons team.
Yeah, he was the only one in range of a weapons team, and
Yeah,
Zaz was only in range of, I think, the Brute and the Horde here on the left.
right. So yeah, so I'm gonna put wounds on the hordes because I want them softened up so that I can try to break them a little easier on the charge. And like you said, moving 10 on Bale is great to move up and try to find vulnerable targets. And some people usually like misdeploy first turn where they don't realize like the 10 plus 24, that 34-inch range is pretty deep when you think about it, right?
Hmm.
Of course, you didn't do that, but everything was rally, everything's inspired, you did everything the way you should be, right? But I one wound to a weapons team, which is probably not far off average because they're defense 5, they're super annoying. So I rolled nerve, just thinking, oh, maybe I got lucky waiver here. And I rolled 12, thinking, oh, cool, I did waiver. And I realized, oh wait, no, that's a kill, right? So you have to inspire, you have to re-roll it into an 11. So,
They're
which is
only
another
in
kill.
8-10, and they're rallied twice, and yeah, that's a kill. Turns out one wound to a shot to a weapons team's all I've ever needed to do.
Yeah. So I was very happy to see that. Obviously, killing a weapon team top of one with some blink damage lightning bolts. That's extremely lucky. And it's not necessarily going to change the game plan or anything like that, but it's one of those things that lets me maybe play more reckless later, where
Yeah,
I don't have to worry about as much stuff like behind the lines, things like that.
yeah, it definitely just reduces the consistency of my close range shooting once I get there. So it matters, but you're right. It doesn't immediately matter. It just has a long term effect more than anything. So
It was stupid luck. I mean, what can I say?
yeah, well, it happens. So
Sure
um,
did.
so then on my turn, like I said, my movement here isn't anything spectacular because I didn't have a great deployment to really answer what Alex is trying to do. So I move up a little bit. Main thing I used my command dice on was I did heal the horde that took a wound or took 3 wounds. So I got the endurance on them with the radiance of life from the brood mother. They're down to 1 wound, so I decided not uh, to drain life my own rats to get them back to full. I didn't want to do like 5 wounds to my warrior unit to heal 1 off of a shock troop. So otherwise, everything else is just moving up in such a way to not give flanks. The horde on the left, as you can see, really hasn't moved up much because I can't really expose myself by moving too far and getting past this forest. I'll just get swarmed from the front and the flanks. I can't let that happen. And then on the right, I'm positioning in such a way that his berserkers aren't able to get around me and around that hill, so that Brood out there is overwatching the hill while the Horde keeps them in the front while pushing forward mostly. So yeah, and then my shooting pretty much just focused all my claw shots on Zaz this turn because he's up on the hill. 2 of my claw shots had clear shots, 1 had cover shots, and he is the most threatening with Lightning Bolt 8, and obviously the Bane Chant later on is going to hurt. So, and he's what, only a 12-14, I think. So using command dice with a reroll to hit, reroll to wound. I could roll an 11 twice, just like Alex did, and I could kill him if I do 3 wounds. So I think I did something like 6 wounds, maybe 7 wounds, something like that. But Alex was gracious enough to give me 2 aristocrat dice that I promptly rolled into Snake Eyes on the first nerve roll of the game. And then they didn't get rolled at all after that. So
Yeah, I mean, this is the same test I was going to be fair. So I rolled an 11. They rolled, thank guys for you, which is ultimate sign that they're cursed.
absolutely. So
Yeah,
otherwise, the lightning bolt and the blight staff I have, I think maybe went into one of these regiments. It was ineffective to say the least. I think actually I might have tried to pop the gnome glass shield. I think that's what it was. I tried to lightning bolt the individual in cover. So, but yeah, wasn't able to get that. And yeah, so my turn was pretty quick. So on to Alex's turn two. Uh, Positioning on the left, he's just moving around to look at flanks and everything. Um, make life harder. And then the hill, you use the fiend to jump up on the hill so he can protect Zaz from the long range shooting that I have. So that way Zaz can get some regenning, but still utilize his lightning bolts at other units that he can see. And yeah, I don't think you needed to move your shooters; they were in range. So everything else was just little bits of positioning here and there, keeping everything out of my charge range. So as you do.
yeah. I pretty much just sticking to game plan at this point. Like, have pretty good control of the middle as far as like red zones and range. Obviously, not killing Suzu is a big deal because, like you said, he's going to regen, he's going
Mhm,
to hide, he's going to take pot shots, and like I thought you might go for him with your turn. I think what you did is very fair because if you're killing him, is a really important piece for me.
mhm.
And it's always a tough call between like someone like him or like the Missile Fiends, who
Yeah,
are kind
the
of like
fiend
these,
The Fiends would have
hide six
definitely
titans.
been, yeah, Fiends would have definitely been my target priority if like I got first turn because Zaz is behind the hill.
Right.
And knowing that you didn't pay for the regen on the fiends, every wound I do will stick at least. So,
Exactly.
um,
It's like one of the only units in my army that actually wounds stick on it, right? So
right.
I'm always kind of never mind my fiends. Like they kind of have a clock on them that where most units don't.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. But anyway, again, I was super happy to just kind of impose more threat and just take shots where I can.
Yep. So at this point, especially if after taking out one of my weapons teams, you're slowly getting, more and more advantage at the range game, as well as obviously having the threat to punch at any time. So,
Yes, I did declare one charge, I believe.
yes, you
Um,
did.
if I'm jumping ahead
Let's
here.
see here. Yeah. So right up here, we got the Seductress charging into a Brood Mother. Double rally Broodmother 14-16. You threw the Seductress in. What was your thought process here? You just might as well, or
Yeah, I
what were you
think
doing?
I think the thought process here was like I wanted her in the back line to kind of cause chaos. Um, I think in hindsight this was kind of a mistake. One of her biggest weaknesses is his cloak of death with the
Mm.
gnome glass shield, and I think I like threw her literally 2 inches from your cloak of death unit.
Oh yeah, that's Mother
So
Chrysler right here. So
yeah, so that's super annoying. But usually, she's stealthy and she's an individual. So if that's a target that people shoot at, I'm generally okay with that, just because it's just so inefficient to shoot her. So in my
Mhm.
mind, I'm thinking, hey, she can come in here. She can start kind of causing chaos here. There was nothing that could charge her from that position, I believe. So the only thing that could threaten her was a little bit of shooting. And if you're shooting her, you're not shooting other things. And I think at this point, I did move up my army within range of like your weapons teams at this point. So I was kind of had that process in mind where I was like, you can shoot something, I'll throw in there, and then you have to deal with her, or she gets free and gets to do whatever she wants next turn.
Yeah, that's definitely fair. Um, but yeah, so you did some shooting, which the wounds, couple wounds on the horde here. Most of the other shooting went into the other horde over there. But yeah, why don't you explain why I don't have a brood mother anymore, Alex?
Yeah, so not part of my plan was actually killing anything or you know um, doing significant damage. Her plan there was more to be annoying. Um, but having said that, she has shows that host shadow beast. I believe went off, and I believe I did 5 wounds,
Yep,
which
five
is not a terrible
wounds.
shot.
Yeah,
I think it's
now
about right.
I think it's
Um,
definitely right on par.
yeah, so it's
But
about what you expect out of that. Which again, you think, okay, maybe you get a lucky waiver with this. I want to
yeah,
say
not
she's again rally 2.
yep. So a 9 or 10 would waiver the brood mother.
Right. So that's like the dream result is
Uh huh.
is a waiver. Instead, I rolled an 11,
Uh huh.
um, which is a kill, which of course is inspired. So
Yep.
I pick up my dice and I roll another 11. So she's dead,
Yep. So
just like the first turn.
instead of the dream result, you got the wet dream result. Uh,
Yes.
uh,
This is ridiculous.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But you were kind enough to only do one wound to this weapons team and not kill it this turn. So improvements for me on my side. Not everything's dying to 11s twice.
Yeah.
So
Exactly. Nah. What can I say? I mean, again, this is kind of ridiculous. Result already. You have 2 key pieces. Um, I don't want to say key pieces, but two pieces dead. Kind of for free. Is the way I kind of see it.
yeah,
Um,
and that
is
brood
there?
mothers is a really big deal because the radiance of life is really impactful on and I only have one now on the left hand side of my army. I don't have the other one over here. and her drain life is usually really useful, and especially would be one of the tools I'd want to use against the seductress, because I'm not taking any of the penalties, and then after the gnome glass shield is gone, she's only defense 4, so um, that would be an easy way for me to get a couple more wounds on her reliably. So um,
That's
so,
fair. I mean,
so this
presumably she
is
would have been
annoying.
discovered, but
Oh yeah,
she's
yeah.
dead.
She wouldn't have been able to do it this next turn, but I'd rather you fight her for 2 turns and allow me to shoot at you with other stuff and whatnot. And if she's giving off radiance of life every turn, then it's just making it harder to kill everything else. So
Yeah, I agree. And they're great overall.
yeah. So, a bad deployment leading to some good nerve rolls on Alex's side, and I need to make some decisions here. So, um, I decide to position like this. So, the main thing here is I wanted to isolate these berserkers out on the right. They're uninspired. There's nobody out there to support them. So this shock troop horde kind of broke off from the rest of the army. It's a little bit more vulnerable because I only have one source of rally for them, and since I don't have the brood mother anymore, that can't go for inspiring. So Mother Kryza had to stay somewhat close still to provide inspiring. Um, but yeah, I'm running out there in hopes that the position you have your berserkers, they can't just turn and run 18 inches towards the center because of these impassable pieces. And you would be able to turn and run 18 past the shock troops, but I'd have at least the regiment out here um, to annoy you, I guess, and force you to, stay there and fight me eventually. So that was really my main game plan, I feel like. And if I can eliminate these berserkers and get 2 unit strength with these rats out across the center line, I feel like that's a win. And if this horde is critically damaged, then try to hide it behind these impassable pieces afterwards. That's what I was really going for. But I think in order to do that successfully, I needed to actually deal with your individual here. So stayed in range for the cloak of death to pop the shield, and then I got only 2 weapons teams now shooting at her, and I can have the claw shot shoot at her as well. But like you said, individual stealthy, it really is kind of difficult to get that off. And realistically, I probably should have had Tangle looking at her as well to provide a fireball over there. Um, but doesn't look like I did that for whatever reason.
Yeah, I
uh,
don't know if he's out of range. Maybe.
should be in range. 12 inches. This horde's only 8 inches wide. So
Yeah, yeah, you're right. I mean, it's I don't
yeah,
know. The one benefit of I think Bale was kind of in the middle of my line there, threatening a lot of things with speed 20 or speed 10 charge like flying.
yeah,
So maybe your energy is focused forward, and just making sure nothing's getting picked off in the back. And it's
yeah. Well, and I
yeah,
had positioned everything so that you can't hop the lines with him. There's no place to land on any of the backline units anyway. I think what
yeah,
I ended up doing is actually casting weakness on this horde of abyssal berserkers this turn, because you're gonna charge, you're gonna get the charge on me, and yeah, so I think I casted weakness this turn, and I popped some plague pots. I forget if I think it was both of these units here in the middle popped their plague pots this turn, anticipating that you're gonna come in. It's about that time. So
yeah. I think
um,
you kind of have
yeah,
to
yeah,
with like either that or you back up, which doesn't work in Invade, obviously. So
yeah, yeah. So you're kind of damned if I do, damned if I don't. But But yeah, my shooting didn't actually accomplish anything. I think I did 4 wounds to the seductress, but I failed to get a waiver on her. Um, I think I drained life a little bit into my own unit, so that way I could heal the horde. But uh, yeah, that's where we were at, and it just goes straight into your turn 3, which is when the lines clash here. Um, so yeah, you took the triple charge here into this horde of shock troops. Um, you popped your J boots. I'm pretty sure this turn.
Yeah, for sure.
So not hindered, but the Cav was hindered, which they were affected by phalanx anyway. So doesn't really matter whether they were hindered or not. So you got the triple charge into them, and it looks like even after all your shooting, I was able to heal them back down to only 1 wound at the beginning of this combat. You use the gargoyles that were behind the hill to jump in front of the other horde of shock troops, delay them for a turn, and then everything else just kind of positioned into shooting here in the center. And then that seductress was able to go off and do great things and charge the rear of this horde of shock troops while the berserkers hit the front. So yeah, I mean, and then oh yeah, these gargoyles jump the line to be annoying, and so they're in the backfield here. Um, so yeah, with that, I mean, I don't know. I was afraid. What were you thinking? You're just like, cool. He walked
Yeah.
right into my trap.
Honestly, not really. Just because my shooting was negated with some of your healing, like especially that drain life. Like I would have loved to have that. Again, I had that unit up to maybe 6, 7 wounds, maybe higher, before you healed
Mhm.
everything off them. Between the command point and the drain life and the probably radiance there too, right?
Yep.
So like the game plan is usually soften something up and then just kind of finish it off in combat. So I knew that the charge to the left wasn't going anywhere, but on the hindsight, I don't think there was too much counterplay on your end. I thought maybe you'll pick up one of the units, but I have 3 of them, so I
Right.
can kind of afford to trade a piece if I don't get the break right away, which I shouldn't. On the right side was definitely you played that hill really well with those 2 units. I was going to comment earlier when you were talking about how berserkers actually struggle sometimes, and it's kind of a good lesson for if you're playing against height 3 units, cavalry, ogres, whatever you're playing against. Like if you stand behind the hills, they can't see you, so it really kind of limits what they can do and like where you can move. Because I would have loved to like just charge the warriors and just bypass the horde altogether, right?
Right.
But you're playing really smart because the warriors are just off the hill where they can't be seen. But if I charge up on the hill, then you see me, you can charge me. So again, you played that really well, and you pretty much left me no choice. Where I kind of had to charge the unit. Now this unit was a little injured, and I
Yeah, it
think,
looks like
uh,
they had
like,
4 wounds on him.
yeah, it's just not much. But with the host Shadow Beast structures, I was feeling good on like maybe getting a waiver there,
Yeah.
which would be bad news for you if I got it.
Yeah,
So some pretty good overall.
and I kind of had to play with some risks at this point. I felt like so. My ultimate goal was to hopefully at least waiver the seductress, and I felt like if it was just a one-on-one fight, I would have been able to take on the berserkers with this horde because I believe this is the crushing strength horde, if I'm not mistaken.
That is
So
right.
so it'd be 15 hits on average, wounding you on twos on average. So it should be roughly like 13 wounds at that point. Um, and so a 5 1 time, assuming you're uninspired, but maybe you would have been able to get the seductress inspiring either way. So that was the math I was looking at, trying to just one shot these berserkers if I could ever get my hands on them effectively. Um,
Yeah. Only
but
critique I guess I could make is like maybe pop the plague pots on them if you're actually
yeah,
playing. Because so I do agree the way I kind of was positioned there. I kind of had to charge you
mhm,
just based on the movement. So like if you know that's happening, maybe that would have that would have
yeah,
been I'd have felt a lot worse for sure if you did that.
yeah, and I think that's just a mistake on my part, and the inexperience really showing on my part with the army because I haven't played a game with this army before, so this is my first game.
I agree. Yeah, I'm trying
So
not I'm trying to be too harsh here.
no. I think it's a good thing to call out because it was something that I habitually did all weekend too, where I'm just like, I can survive this on averages, and then I'll pop the plague pots when I'm already engaged, and it just kept being like, well, either I did survive and popping the plague pots didn't matter because I was so heavily damaged already, or I didn't actually end up surviving. So I think you're right. In a lot of these situations, it should have been a pop them early, and if the opponent decides to back up and wait another turn, it's not the end of the world, right? So
Yeah, again, I like your game plan overall but it does hinge on the seduction being wavered there, and
yeah,
obviously that shows. And so again, I think it was perfectly fine plan. It had a logical path that makes sense.
yeah, and it just didn't work out for me. I think we're foreshadowing quite a bit here, Alex. So
Yeah,
what
sure,
happened to
sure.
that
Let's get to
horde?
it. Yeah, so yeah, so I mean, the damage there, I'd probably roll a little above average. But I think the seductress, want to say, did a bunch of wounds. I definitely put some rerolls into that combat. Maybe both my rerolls in that combat,
Yeah, you did a
because I
reroll
knew
to hit and a reroll to wound, one on each of those units. So
right. So that was like me just trying to tilt the odds in my favor because I just knew how big getting a kill there would be, and like basically this is my only chance to do it because I really needed to deal with that horde
right.
right in that moment.
And
So
I think you got my horde over 20 wounds, and they started with 4, so you did at least 16 wounds in this combat, which the berserkers should have 15 hits and probably and 10 wounds on averages, and
that's right.
the host shadow beast seductress can easily put in another 5 or 6, so that's probably right on averages. And they're
Yeah.
only rallied once, so being a 21-23, that's easily a dead horde, even just on averages. So
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it worked out well, obviously, for me. And again, in most games you take average rolling, right?
yeah,
So
absolutely.
if you're rolling a little above average, like things go. You feel like you're unstoppable sometimes. Like so, that's what I felt like after that comment. I was like, oh, everything's going my way.
Yeah. Well, you didn't roll 11s twice on me this time, Alex, so I was feeling a
Yeah,
little bit better too, even though I lost the units.
that's fair.
um,
Also, in the back of my head, though, I don't know if you get this way too, but like when you roll hot early, always in my mind, I'm like, this is gonna come back to bite me, where I'm gonna roll snake eyes in like the most pivotal combat. Like I don't know if you think that way or not.
yep, absolutely.
Yeah. So like
And
in my mind, I'm also like, yeah, I killed two units on 11, but like they're kind of small units that didn't necessarily matter. If I
right,
snake eyes at the wrong time, my game could collapse, and that's kind of what I was thinking through a lot of these.
that's fair because what comes around goes around, right? So
I think so usually. Yeah,
So, and then over here, the plague pots did actually matter. Obviously, we're only up to 10 wounds, not 28 wounds. They're only d8s, so had yeah, I had to add instead of that. Um, so yeah, I was actually surprised that this combat went so poorly because I think I started with 1 wound. So out of all 3 of these units, you only inflicted 9 points of damage, and you even got or you. This was the turn you failed a Bane Chant 5 or something ridiculous. I think it
that's
was.
right. Yeah, so
So
probably put Banshell on the Berserkers, I imagine,
yeah,
or try to, knowing that even hitting on fives, they were going to get the most hits, which is like 10 or something, right?
yeah,
Um,
because
but
your calves also hit me on 5s at this point with phalanx and ensnare. So
exactly. And they're and those have thunders too. So
yeah.
it was a lot of hitting on fives. Again, probably went a little bit under. I had brutal from the fiend,
Mhm.
so I was thinking, my mind, I was like, again, waiver, I'd be great with here, is because you don't really have wave protection in this army, so just
I
getting waivers.
oh, I got Aura Fury with Tangle sitting
Oh,
right there. So
never
I
mind. So if you're just yeah, so
I'm
this side of the
perfectly
battle doesn't
fine with
matter.
waivers.
Yes, okay, you're right. So this
Yeah.
side, again, I threw it in there, knowing you can do what you want. I think the big mistake I made here is actually the gargoyles. I should have thrown the gargoyles into the warriors, I think, just to lock them up and prevent
Oh,
like the
the
very
ones on the
obvious
bottom
counterpoint.
of the screen here.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like,
Those ones.
yeah, I think I put them there just to like potential rear charge or like get into the shock troops or not shock troops, the claw shots.
Yeah, claw
But in
shots, weapons
hindsight,
teams, things like that.
yeah, but that was just me being, I think, like greedy, and so I think I'm looking at my own play there, going that you're an idiot, Alex. Should have
Yeah.
definitely kept those either further back or just throw them into the Warriors.
Yeah, I do think the Warriors isn't a bad choice because I was using it as a drain life battery for my own unit, so it already had some wounds on it. So and then obviously with my unit sticking around, those Warriors have something they can do that's somewhat impactful here as well. So I agree. I think that would have been a better use for them, but yeah, I actually held with this unit, so I get a turn. I get to do something, and I countercharge the cav, and I put the brute enforcer into the flank, which the brute enforcer's hindered, but um, really I'm looking at that and thinking this is my sharpness horde, so I'm hitting you on threes, so that should be 20 hits. Wounding you on fours should be about 10 wounds. Brute enforcer is usually good for a couple wounds, and then the brutal puts me up to 13. I need a three to kill you then, right? That was the math that I was doing in my head, and then I was looking and saying these warriors are going to take the berserkers on for one turn. They're going to protect my flank, and then I just have an abyssal fiend to chew through the next turn. And Bale could probably come in if he wanted to, but he's getting affected by failing. So I felt like I was in a really good spot considering the triple charge didn't do as much as what you and I both expected. So I was really happy with this particular position and know that the other horde of shock troops, well, it's not in the greatest position, but at least it's not getting charged by the berserkers from the far right for the next turn or so. So that's what I was looking at is that I can pick up some big units, the unit strength 3 here, and just start taking out units from your army. And I think once some of those start falling, it's if my shock troops stay relatively healthy, I should be able to continue that. So,
Yeah,
um,
I agree. I was worried, honestly, like because the main issue with you killing the horseman here is that I don't think I have a good play to kill the shock troops the next turn because of
right.
how like I didn't do enough damage on that initial hit. And that's
Yeah.
where I think the Warriors being able to block up the Berserkers is actually a really big play. So I agree. Yeah, this looks really bad for me.
Yep. So I think if I, well, we're foreshadowing again. Uh, so over here I couldn't actually see anything. I set up for the horde to survive instead of countercharge off of it, which a brood and a warrior regiment wasn't going to do much of anything anyways. But I was able to box you in so that these abyssals can't nimble around and get into anything important. They have to charge the brute this next turn. And then I'm in a position where I'm again shooting at the seductress with both of my weapons teams. And I'm even trying to get a mind fog on her from Tangle this turn because I desperately, I feel like it's still early enough in the game where I desperately need to handle this individual. And having 4 wounds on her right now, I feel like it should be well more than enough to bring it down. So um, but yeah, so I drained life and shot one of the claw shots into uh, the gargoyles that were trying to come around, which we were able to pick them up, which was also a good little battery to help heal this horde of shock troops. So we're down to only 6 wounds from the 10 that we had before. Um, and yeah, that was the only thing I killed. So no, I killed the other gargoyles, I guess, with the horde in the middle. So yay,
Sure, yeah.
I killed 2 gargoyles at this point in the game. Um, yeah, so I just didn't roll very well against the abyssal horsemen. I think I needed a 5 twice to kill him in the end. So I only did 10 wounds between everything, and 13 was the or yeah, 13 was the average with brutal. So, yeah, I just rolled below average, and then I only rolled like a 3 or a 4 for the nerve dice, and it turns out those horsemen are going to stick around. So, that was that I think is when I looked at the board and I said, yeah, this game's over. Uh just just because I don't think I can stand another charge, and even if I do, my unit's going to be so hurt and devastated. And you flank the brute already that I don't have enough stuff to deal with these units, even if they are heavily damaged. And I think you rolled pretty well for your regen even as well. So your cav are down to like 5 wounds or something at this point. So
Yeah,
um,
I think I either rolled well or maybe I got lucky enough to get the command points
to double
to use the
regen
reroll
or
regen
something.
or something. Because
Yeah,
that's like the true like twist in the dagger when like not only you don't kill the unit, but they're back to like 4 wounds or something next round and
right.
just keep
Yeah.
going.
Well,
Horsemen are really good.
and I forgot you forgot to pop your Blood of the Old King last turn with them. So now that unit still has Blood of the Old King, and you successfully Bane chant him again this turn. So it's like, oh great, that unit is just a murder weapon this turn, especially. So
Yeah,
um,
they're unhindered, ensnared, like nothing to worry about. It's
yeah,
yeah,
just failing. So you're hitting on 4s instead of 3s, but I mean,
that's
18
fair.
attacks with the lead and wounding me on 2s with vicious. That's gonna hurt still. So
Yeah, they're again such a good unit. The Dash 16
yes,
was a really big buff to 'em, I think.
mm,
This helps kind of make him more reliable.
absolutely. So yep, this turn Zaz gets his Bane chant off. Bale finally comes in to gank Brute in the flank. You threw a warlock in front of the other shock troop horde, which is exactly what you should be doing at this point. Just chaff it up until everything else is able to look straight at it. Um, and then oh yeah, I did nothing to the seductress. I didn't hit her once with the weapons teams. Mind fog did not go off successfully. I didn't even get a chance to roll nerve this turn on your seductress. I just failed that hard. So yeah, it was great. I love it. Love every moment of it. So
Yeah, so
uh,
that's tough.
so you put the seductress into the warriors because at this point you're just saying, well, how do I get the most points out of the game? And it's blocking up this unit from getting across the board. And you basically didn't want your berserkers to have to deal with it. So I think this is an excellent move at this point. Absolutely. Looks like your shooting picked up another weapon team. So there's only one of those guys left. Um, yeah, and then I forgot to mention in my turn, I did have to take Kryza into your Fiend in order to protect the flank of that shock troop horde in the middle. I wasn't worried about your flame bearers coming in because they'd be hindered hitting on 6s, but I definitely did not want a Fiend in the flank of them. So,
Yeah, Fiend's got a profile that's like you have to respect it enough where on the flank it's got that crush too vicious, so
yeah,
with melee
yeah,
3, he can do some damage.
absolutely. So you picked up the brute over here as expected. You picked up the brute here from the flank as expected. Oh yeah, you're down to only 2 wounds on these cav. It looks like now. Uh, yeah, it was a really good regen roll, I think. So
I don't remember being that good, but I see some command dice over there, so I definitely threw something at him.
yeah, if it
I
was the
think
2 command dice, that's probably the heal 1 wound. So um,
okay.
yeah, so you probably regened well and then healed another one with that. So um, but yeah, it was the well, I want to say the beginning of the end, but man, the beginning of the end's been happening for a while already. So, uh, and then we can see up here there's a 5 damage on Mother Kryza from a 7 attack fiend. So Alex, explain how are you so good at this game?
Yeah. I've never claimed to be good. Definitely claimed to be lucky though. And I mean, yeah, she didn't snare, right? Hitting on fours,
Yeah. She's
7 attacks,
defense
you're gonna get
5.
3.5 an average. And I'm just doing 5 wounds. Like it's
Yep.
no big deal.
Yep.
And there's no way I'm putting rerolls there because that combat doesn't really matter.
No.
So I'm just ripping 5 wounds out of nowhere.
Yep. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was
So
six out of 7 hits and 5 wounds. It was like
yeah, something
uh,
ridiculous.
at this point, I'm just begging you, Alex. I'm like, come on, give me one break, please. Stop it. It
Exactly.
hurts.
Yeah, at this point
um,
again, it's yeah, it's looking bad.
yeah, and you pick up the you pick up the horde here, or um, yeah. So this is where the Bane chant went off successfully. Um, the blood of the old king was popped this turn, so even 6 wounds and a fiend and a cav unit affected by phalanx. I was done for at this point. So yeah, and then my turn, which there's not much left to do. What is this? Bottom 5, I think, something like that.
Sounds
So
right.
so
Maybe
yeah,
4.
we'll maybe no, it's 5. I'm pretty sure. Maybe not.
I
I
think
don't
it's
know.
4. So yeah, it
It
doesn't
sh-
matter, right?
it should have been over at this point. Um, so maybe I was wrong. Maybe that was the wrong wound token. That might have been on the Abyssal Fiend because I think you tapped him with Zaz one turn. Possibly. Or maybe I shot him with something because I had nothing else to shoot. It looks like there's a 10 token dice here, so I did actually pick up the cav. I think I shot all the claw shots at him and drain lifed him as well. So I got something. Yay, points are
Yeah.
points.
Um, no, you killed him. You actually roll like good nerves, I think, for once. It felt kind
Yeah,
of weird. I was like, oh wait, he can roll. He can roll well. I was like,
he rolls above a 4. This is
exactly.
uh,
No, it's the right
uh
target choice. I
yeah.
mean, Unitrend, kill it. Still got a lot of wounds on it.
My Mother Cries has only done 4 wounds to you over here. You know, Cloak of Death is going off and doing stuff. So really, she's only done like 2 wounds in combat over 2 turns. I did do one more wound to your Seductress and wavered her finally on this turn. I got a corkscrew charge onto the Abyssals, which you don't care about because they're hitting you on 6s in the flank, and oh well. And then I
Pretty much.
just again boxed them in as best I could with the weapons team and the regiment in the flank, so that way you couldn't get around and into the rear of my last shock troop horde. So trying to keep them alive as long as possible, but you know, we all see the writing on the wall here. So so yeah, into I'm pretty sure this is 6. I'm pretty sure
This
this is
is,
top of 6.
I think this is 5
Okay. I might be wrong.
because my big charge is on 3, which would have meant that my follow up charge was on 4 to kill your horde on the left, I think. And
Okay.
then this is probably 5,
This might be.
which it's enough to like where scenario matters, right?
Yeah.
So at this point, I need to start pushing up my unit strength, mainly the flame bearers, because this shock troop horde killing the horsemen actually puts you in a spot where I can't really deal with the shock troops anymore, mainly because you keep boxing me out with playing really well on the right. So like I kind of have you surrounded, but it's not effectively surrounded because I can't really get to anywhere.
Right.
So in my mind, I'm thinking I can't really deal with these guys unless I get around them or the berserkers get free. And so I think let's get the flame ring sent up. Let's prepare for the worst. Again, in my mind, I'm like, I'm gonna roll 3 more snake eyes this game. You know, it's a balance out all the luck I've had. So like at this point, I just want to push as much of my army forward and just
Yeah.
force you to like roll and equally insane to deal with it.
Right. It's blackjack, so you need to, the worst case scenario is you don't do anything with them, but hey, they're closer to the objective at the end of the game, right? So,
Exactly.
um, So yeah, but there's not much left. You double charge the Broodmother on the left. You put Zaz now into the front, and one of the Flamebearer units into the flank. Your Fiend in the back, countercharge Mother Kryza. You flank charge the Tangle hindered, and then you countercharge the regiment of warriors on the right. Um, so you did 5 wounds the first turn to Mother Kryza. I think you improved, and you did 6 wounds this turn, putting her up to 11 wounds from 14 attacks when you needed fours to hit and threes to wound with vicious. Uh, Man, Alex, I wish I could be half as good as that.
Yeah, that's one that like I don't even know. I think I just kind of like happened and I didn't stop thinking about it until like later. And I was like, wait a second, like
Right.
I just killed her in 2 turns. Like, which on average he probably fights the rest of the game
Yeah,
against each
I
other.
think if it was an average game leading up to that, I would have called you out on it and just been like, "Hey, this is some bullshit here, Alex." But at this point, all I've seen is bullshit out of you, so it was just another. All right, I'll just take it off. Not even going to question it anymore. So
Yeah, it
yeah,
was,
that it's just funny because Mother Cries got the charge on you, so she was the first one that attacked. She had 2 turns of Cloak of Death on you. You have no wound recovery, and your fiend is sitting here with 5 wounds on him, and Mother Cries had 11 on her. So
yeah,
uh,
that's silly. I don't tell you.
if, if that doesn't sum up the game, I don't know what does.
Yeah, that's about
So
right.
so yeah, the you kill all the things you should kill here. One thing that you don't do a wound to Tangle, which
Right.
allowed me to withdraw, whip it around, and get some fireball going onto your abyssals, what are the berserkers
Berserkers.
over here. So between Fireball, all 3 claw shots, the weapons team, looks like I put them up to 9 wounds and I got a waiver, which hell yeah, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, it's very
Um,
relevant.
it's the first time this game that I was able to actually get concentrated fire on them. I feel like they've always been either just a little bit out of range of something or too much cover, or there was just other priorities and I could just delay them more and more. So
Yeah,
um,
I mean, this showed me the power of kind of the concentrated fire. You know, if you had those full weapon teams and the tangle and some other stuff kind of aimed at units, like yeah, it's a dead unit a turn easily.
yeah, yeah,
So like even at reduced strength, you're doing significant damage. You know, killing the horsemen in a turn before, killing or waving the berserkers here and kind of set them up. It's like really shows like, oh wow, like those if those units were alive early, it would have been a completely different game. I think, especially in the mid game.
yeah, and it's also if the shock troops are able to hit and pick up the units that they touch, and then the shooting's able to do enough to pick up a unit that they touch. Two units a turn is excellent in most situations. So, and in this case, the shock troops countercharge the uh, what are they called, flame bearers, because I have just enough room with Zaz being a 40 millimeter base, having to center it mathematically. I have exactly enough space. I have exactly 80 millimeters on that side for a counter charge into him, which obviously puts me in the best position I could be at in this situation. Because the other fun thing I did down here was a claw shot unit charged the flank of Bale to ground him for a turn. So that way Bale couldn't rear charge my shock troops after they killed this unit over here.
Yep.
And you were kind enough to only waiver this brood mother. So I mean, I guess your dice weren't hot every turn of the game. You gave me a couple of opportunities here, Alex. So
All
um,
tidbits there.
yeah. So with that, I mean, you killed that. You easily just turn to look at these, and they're dead the next turn, no matter what. But yeah, surprisingly, this shock troop horde is still alive, and I think this is when I finally popped plague pots because at no other point in the game were they ever really threatened. And this is turn 6, and I saw you only had like 20 seconds left on your clock at the end of your turn. So I was like, yeah, we're popping plague pots this turn. It's probably the only turn it's going to matter. So, um,
Yeah. No, I mean, but at least you had raid.
yeah,
I had yeah, I had things. I mean, again, they're like surrounded, but they're safe with the way you played it. So give you kudos to protecting the unit strength you had.
yeah. I tried not to get tabled. Uh, at least I had that going for me.
I mean, it is
Uh,
blackjack, like I said, every point matters. So the
absolutely.
small moves make a difference. I think.
So this is how it looks. This was. I think you're right. This was top of 6, or I think I. Is this the last picture? I think I might have skipped a turn, but I'm pretty sure you. I think you charged my horde here. Is that right, or did you just shoot it?
I think I just shot him.
Okay.
I want to say he charged something else that was there, maybe. No, does that make sense?
Yeah, you might have been able to charge like this weapons team over here. Let's see where you ended up. No, he's dead. So I think he charged the shock troops.
So he charged. Yeah, so he charges as we probably just lightning bolt something else.
Yeah, that would make sense. Um, you so yeah, on we're skipping a turn here. So we missed his
Yeah,
turn
yeah.
6. This is at the end of the game. Um, or no, this
This
is
is the
this
end.
right?
Yeah. So turn 6, I remember. I think my fiend charged a front unit, and I want to say I charged
It
the
looks
claw
like
shots.
Zaz was looking at him, so
He
I
was
think
looking. Yeah.
Zaz charged the rear, or maybe he bane. No, he wouldn't need to bane chance. So
Yeah,
uh,
I think he just didn't have anything to shoot really. Maybe or again, I did have time trouble here. I want to say I ended turn 6 with 20 seconds left or something.
yeah,
So I was going in there thinking there's a 7. At least I can do my movements. This is finish the phase, so you can if you can get to combat, you can like you can finish your rolls and everything. So that in my mind, I'm thinking, hey, just leave enough time so you can do something to get to 7. But
right.
so I might have just like moved everything where it needed to be and just passed the turn. Or you could have very easily done that. I think I might have done that. Maybe killed a few
Yeah.
things in the
Yeah,
back.
I know you popped your your imps on your injured horde that was over here. I do
Right.
remember this was when you used the reroll failed regen checks on them as well. So I think they got back to fairly healthy, 3 4 wounds on them or something like that. Um, and their defense 6 for the final turn. So um,
But it didn't matter.
yeah,
Really.
yeah. I
Um,
think the only thing you
oh, this
killed
is
from that point on was the claw shot here, because Tangle was alive, the weapons team was alive, and this horde was alive.
yeah,
So
that
yeah,
sounds right.
you were trying to fly through to make sure you had enough time. So turn 7, I'm the bottom of the turn, so I get to roll it, and I got it. Which normally, at least in this situation, if Alex had enough time, would mean that he would be able to almost wipe me off the table. Um, but uh,
Yeah.
but
Well,
you didn't have enough time, Alex. Why was
I
that?
yeah. So it's actually I'm curious to see like other Bristol players, but I'm thinking, okay, I can just do my movements, go right into combat, and then it's finished the phase, like you said. So I think I had maybe 1 or 2 charges lined up.
Mhm.
And the second I go, okay, so go straight to combat. I think you point out that I think I had wounds probably on every unit at this point. Didn't
Yeah,
roll any regens. So you can't do that obviously. You have to roll those. So with rolling the regens, it's probably like a minute and a half of regen rolling alone. I clocked out in my movement phase. So was not able to actually go to combat to do that. So I gave you, I think, the ability to pick up maybe 1 or 2 more units, maybe one more unit, I think, on your turn.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing was you didn't pick up my units when you
Yes,
had the opportunity to for sure because I'm pretty sure you this was a rear charge on Tangle that you didn't get a roll. You had a flank and a front on a Brood Mother that you didn't get a roll, and then I don't think the shock troops were at threat at this point because the berserkers were out of the game. They were still wavered. Um, so yeah, the shock troops would have probably lived, but you would have gotten an extra, like 300 victory points out of those two units if you got to go. And I think also positioning. I think Zaz. I forget if Zaz was on the my side of the board or not at
I
this
think
point.
so.
Yeah,
But definitely got my berserkers killed too. I think because you were able to shoot them, so that cost me another 3 infant really.
yeah, that's true. So
So
yeah,
it was
on
definitely relevant.
Yeah, bottom of seven, I picked up the second regiment of flame bearers, and I shot off the horde of berserkers. Um, Tango wasn't able to get onto Alex's side of the board because there was a regiment of flame bearers here, and with the terrain, I wasn't able to move fast enough to get around them on the other side of the board. So he had to just stay on this side and shoot fireball to help kill. Um, and then same with like this brood mother. There's just no way being flanked and front to get anywhere relevant for scoring. So yeah, this is where it ended, and I do think that the you clocking out did save me probably two, maybe three victory points in all, because I think it's one for kill likely, and then probably one or two more for the scenario. So it was definitely a big deal in the end for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's one of the things with this list that I learned. Like it takes a bit of time, and again, it sounds like region rolls that like it doesn't sound like much, but you throw in command dice, throw in region rolls. It's the rolling the dice, marking the units. It just kind of takes a lot of time when you're doing it over and over again. And
Yeah,
um and and
because
I, you had no
you're rolling several dice every phase of the game. It's not
right.
just one or two. You're rolling in the movement, the shooting, and the combat phase every turn. So
Yeah, exactly. And that's something I think that I hope I think I got a little better at that tournament, this list. But I had learned that. I knew that was an issue too going into this game. I in the one day I played, I think I also clocked out every single game. And I think I mean again, it's thankfully I'm like clocking out in mostly winning positions. So I'd say it's efficient use time in a way, but this situation definitely cost me points, like overall for sure.
yeah, because in the end, I think it ended up being what like a 5-16 or a 6-15 victory for you. We were only like 500 victory points apart from each other, I think, at this point, or
It
maybe
was very close.
700.
Yeah, I think closer even.
Yeah, and then unit strength wise, I have four with my horde. You have three, four, five, six, and probably seven with Zaz as well, because there was no reason for you not to have Zaz on that side of the board. So 7-4. That should be like a 2 point victory or 1 point, a one additional victory point swing there. So yeah, so it was in the end I, that last turn saved me the humiliation that was should have came my way for sure. But it was a little bit more respectable when we look at the scoreboard, I guess.
Yeah, I
But
mean you played it well throughout, so I'm kind of happy to see you at least like kind of bring it back towards the end. Some of those rolls earlier were just ridiculous.
yeah, yeah, and they shooting early on, effective shooting early on is one of the keys to win the game for sure. It just kind of snowballs at that point. But like you said, was able to fight out of a losing position, or not really out of a losing position, but fight in a losing position to maintain a minor loss effectively. And I think that's a key thing to be able to identify is still do the best plays even when you're in losing positions. but I also think it was a key that identifying that after deployment it was a losing position. Yeah, whether your dice were good or not with the shooting, I do think that a big key to this game was the fact that I was out deployed effectively, and when you're out deployed, it's really tough to come back from that. Um, e- Even if I had good dice, I think I'm likely to lose the game.
Yeah, depends. Again, I do like. I love the way that you were able to shut down some berserkers. So, yeah, if that was like that way the whole game, and you're more tighter like castle, yeah, I think that could have seen some being a bit of a nightmare. So, otherwise, I thought it was that was obviously it was fun. Like the Bissels are berserkers especially are a very nasty unit that you kind of really have to respect or plan your game around, right? And I think this game is a good example of that where they're just extremely powerful on the edges with the threat range and nimble and everything.
Yeah, absolutely, and yeah, I don't know what else to say, but I feel like I was lucky to get out of this one with as close of a loss as I got. Um, and yeah, it was a good game, a fun game, and we'll have to play again. I think we had talked about pulling out legacy lists and trying to play with original masters lists with original masters rules. So you'll be playing with second edition dwarves, and I'll be playing with the Night Stalkers at the peak of their prime power. I
Yeah,
think
I'd
that
love
would
it.
still be fun.
Yeah, I'm down, totally down. We'll find a way to make that work.
Yeah. So I doubt this will be the last time that we see each other on the table. So um,
Certainly hope not.
yeah. But any last words? Otherwise, I think we'll end it here.
No, thanks for having me on. I mean, this is probably lasted a little longer than most battle points, but that was fun. Fun to kind of go through the point by point there. So,
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming to Nerdhammer. It's a long way for you.
Yeah.
It's a good GT. I think it was a fun way to start the first day.
Yeah. And your region, I mean, you have a lot of great players, just great guys to hang out with. So I was happy to make it out there. Definitely would recommend it for anybody out of the Mid Atlantic region looking to travel. Well run event, awesome players, awesome people to hang out with, and they take care of you while you're there. So yeah,
Absolutely.
so and appreciate you coming on, Alex. And for those people watching, obviously this is different than my normal battle report process. So hopefully this was entertaining. Let me know if you like it, and I might do it again in the future on key. Maybe not every battle report I do, but some high high note battle reports. Some high priority individuals. Only Masters players can be on Masters site, right, Alex?
Exactly right. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate everybody for watching. That's all for us tonight. We will catch you on the next one.